Taiwan Sammy here. Hey guys, another day, another vlog. So today what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about something a little serious. Well, not serious. It's a couple questions I got from friends asking how safe is it to live in South Korea. Now I'm gonna talk about my experiences, and I'm also gonna go by some data from the criminal reports. And I'm gonna compare Canada to Korea and Seoul to Toronto, my hometown. So these numbers I pulled from 2016, the last data that they had. I'm gonna say that I feel 1,000 times safer in Seoul than I do in any city I've ever visited in the world. I've been to hundreds and hundreds of countries, and I feel so safe. Especially working in the nightlife industry compared to Toronto, I'm gonna say 1,000 times safer. Absolutely have no fear whatsoever of anything ever happening. And the number one reason, there are no guns. That's it, plain and simple. There are no guns. So, before we continue on, I want to say thank you everybody who is subscribing, who is commenting, who is liking. Please click that like button. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. And even if you're not subscribed, please click the like button. It really, really helps my videos, and I appreciate that. So, back to today's topic. So, the numbers are kind of surprising. Crime here is different than it is in Canada. I'm not going to talk about America because that's a whole different kettle of fish. But, you know, Canada doesn't have guns. The gun problem in Canada is the importation of guns from the United States across the border that we have, which is pretty open border. In Korea, you cannot have a gun. To get a gun, you have to register with the police. You have to go through training. You have to go through background check. Then you have to do a license. There's so many hoops to follow through, and then you can't even keep the gun. You have to keep the gun at the police station. There's no handguns, absolutely no handguns. There's shotguns and rifles for hunting, that's it. Even the Olympians need to register their guns. And you have to keep them at the police station. You have to sign them in and out. And then if you use bullets, you have to return the empty shells back to the police station. So if you use 5 bullets, you have to return 5 shells, showing that you used those bullets. It's serious. And it's safe. Now, that being said, there are more... Okay, sorry, let me take a step back. Now, Canada has a lot of guns. It has a lot of violent crime. Again, those are gangs and things like that. Drugs are prevalent in Canada. Drug crime, assaults, etc. In Korea, the crime is more monetary. So embezzlement, scamming, that kind of thing. You don't get a lot of that violent crime. Now, the violent crime that occurs in Korea occurs between neighbors or family. That's where it occurs. The sexual assaults occur between people that know each other or are known to each other. Whereas in Canada, the violent assaults occur predominantly between strangers. It's gang related. And the sexual assaults occur, I'm not gonna like stereotype it or pigeonhole it, but predominantly it's with people they don't know. Random sexual assaults. So here's the numbers, the breakdown. Korea has 8 times more sexual assaults per million, considering that Korea has 20 more million people than Canada. And the predominant city is Seoul with 10 million people versus Toronto with only 1 million people. But per million people, or per capita, Korea has 8 times more sexual assaults and 10 times more murders per million. Okay? So that puts it into perspective. It is a more violent city than Toronto. Seoul is a more violent city than Toronto if you're a Korean, is my opinion. Okay? As a foreigner, I have yet to experience any sort of violence. And I didn't experience it in Canada either, in Toronto. But that's again because I was aware of my surroundings. So I think that's the takeaway here. Sorry, I thought I stopped recording. Sorry about that. I think that's the takeaway here. No matter where you are in the world, you need to be aware of your surroundings. Where are you? What are you doing? And what's going on? So that you can avoid situations that might develop into a problem. So, because that would occur here in Korea too. You go into certain places, you might get involved in something that can cause you to be assaulted. But crimes of opportunity don't exist in Korea. Like, I have left my keys in my motorcycle in downtown Seoul, and nobody's touched my bike. The keys are in the bike. Helmet is on top of the bike. My bike would have been gone in Toronto in 5 minutes had I done that. And the funny thing was, I got onto my bike, and there was a foreigner couple next to the bike, and I got on, and they looked at me, and they said, "Yeah, we were just talking that your keys are in the bike and your helmet was there." And I said, "Yeah, this is Korea. Don't worry about it." He says, "Yeah, that would have been gone in my hometown." I said, "Exactly. This is Korea." The other thing is that, there's also a moral law in Korea. There is in every country, but in Korea, it's actually taught and respected. You don't touch something or take something that doesn't belong to you. There's actually a law. If you find money on the ground, you have to make an attempt to return it. If you don't, you go to jail. Figure that out. How are you supposed to return the money? Well, you take it to the police station, and after a certain period of time, if it's not claimed, it's yours. There's so many reports, so many times in the news you hear at the bank machine there's a shelf, right? So people leave their stuff on the shelf. 2 students found a bag full of like $10,000, $20,000. They turned it into the police station. Nobody knew. Well, I mean, there's CCTV cameras everywhere, right? That's the other thing. Korea has, you think London, England has a lot of CCTV cameras? You gotta come here. They follow people. You try running away from the police, they don't chase you, they just follow you on CCTV. Cameras are everywhere. Around the back alleys near my house, you just push a button and the cops come. There's panic buttons everywhere. But sexual assaults occur, murders occur, and it's usually between neighbors, and usually by knife. Usually family members, things like that. Heinous crimes are very rare, and when they occur here in Korea, there is huge condemnation and reprehension of the criminal. There is a death penalty here, but there's a moratorium on the death penalty. But going back to my original statement, I have never felt safer in any country than I do here. I will go to the bank machine and I will take my money out and I'll just count it while I'm walking. I don't care because nobody's going to do anything. In Canada, you're like covering everything up, right? So I have to remember when I leave Korea and I go someplace else, I have to remember I'm no longer in Korea because I forget that I'm not in Korea and I continue to act like I'm in Korea, and like going to the bank machine or taking my phone out or my valuables or whatever it is that I'm doing. I have to remember that I'm no longer in Korea, so I have to take a step back and be aware more. But anyway, so I'll tell you this much, even though there are higher crime rates here on certain things, I would say that Korea is by far the absolute safest country I have ever lived in, and I have absolutely no fear of being out in public or going out on a weekend to the bar or the club or a restaurant or a church or a school or whatever and not being shot. I think the number one thing is the aggression of the people. There isn't any. And number two, there's no guns. There are no guns. I think that is a main thing. I have no fear. In Canada, I would never have worked the front door of a club. I would have done VIP host, but I would have never been on the front door like I am today, or I was at my clubs, because if you deny somebody access, they're gonna go out and get a gun and come back in Canada. And it's happened many times in Canada. Here, I never have that fear. So I think that's the main reason. No guns. Anyway, that's my take. Ichiwan Semi, living life. I'm out.